I learned what I was before I learned who I was. Not from strangers. Not from bullies at school. From my own family. They didn't whisper it behind closed doors. They didn't soften it to protect me. They said it casually. Publicly. Comfortably. Like it was just fact. Like saying the sky is blue. Like saying my sister was beautiful. Like saying my brother was brilliant. Like saying I was ugly. My name is Faith Mercer. I'm 34 years old. And for most of my life, I believed that word was my identity. Not something someone said about me, but something I was. Families like mine don't just raise children. They assign roles. Permanent ones. Jolene, my older sister, was the pretty one. Caleb, my brother, was the smart one. And me? I was the leftover category. The one they laughed about. The one they explained away. The one they introduced with a tilt of the head and a quiet little disclaimer. She's different. But the moment that finally broke everything, it didn't happen when I was a child. It didn't happen in school. It happened last July. At our annual family reunion. In front of 42 people. In broad daylight. My Aunt Patricia stood beside me, smiling like she always did when she was about to say something cruel disguised as humor. She gestured toward me and said to a woman I had never met, "This is the one we don't talk about." And everyone laughed. Some politely. Some uncomfortably. Some, like they had heard it 100 times before. Because they had. I was standing right there. 34 years old. Still being introduced like a secret. But here's what none of them knew. That woman, Patricia, said it too? She wasn't a random guest. And what she did next didn't just embarrass them. It exposed them. Completely. But to understand why that moment mattered, you have to go back. Way back. For the first time, I heard it. I was 6 years old. Jolene was 8. It was a Sunday in June, the kind where everything smells like cut grass and heat. My mother sat in the living room, sewing. She was making matching dresses for every girl in the family. My cousins. My sister. Even my aunt's stepdaughter, who had only been around for 4 months. Everyone got a dress. Except me. I remember standing there, small hands clenched, asking why. My mother didn't even look up. "Jolene needs something nice," she said. "She photographs well." That was it. That was the explanation. Later, I wore Jolene's old Easter dress. Yellow. Faded. With a stain on the collar, my mother didn't bother removing. "It won't show in pictures," she said. She was right. Because I wasn't in the pictures. That afternoon, we went to my grandmother's house. Church potluck. Crowded lawn. Paper plates. Laughter that didn't include me. I stood near the edge of the yard while my Aunt Patricia cupped Jolene's face in her hands. "This one," she said proudly, "is going to break hearts." Then she turned to me. Tilted her head. Studied my face like she was evaluating damage. And said to someone nearby, "That one got the Mercer nose." A pause. Poor thing. My mother was standing close enough to hear. She didn't correct her. Didn't defend me. Didn't even pretend to. She laughed. Soft. Quick. Like it was already agreed upon. I didn't cry. I didn't understand enough to cry. I thought ugly was temporary. Like dirt. Like that stain on my collar. Something you could fix. I was wrong. Because once a label is placed on you early enough, it becomes permanent. Not because it's true, but because everyone starts treating it like it is. Everything in my life organized itself around that one word. School photos? Jolene got full packages. Frames. Wall space. I got wallet-sized prints that ended up buried in a drawer. Birthdays? Jolene had parties with themes, decorations, and attention. Mine was combined with Caleb's. Every year. The cake always read, "Happy birthday, Caleb." And somewhere, squeezed beneath it. And Faith. Christmas? Jolene unwrapped outfits chosen with care. I got books. "You like reading, right?" my mother would say. Not asking. Deciding. That's what labels do. They tell people what effort you deserve. What attention are you worth? How visible you're allowed to be. And mine said, minimal. If you want to know how your family really sees you, don't listen to what they say. Count the photos. Our living room had 14 framed pictures. Jolene was in all 14. Caleb was in 6. I was in 3. In one, I was partially hidden behind someone else. In another, I was cut off at the edge. In the last one, I was only there because I was holding a red balloon that matched the furniture. That's how I existed. As background. As a balance. As decoration. So I learned to step back. Literally. Every photo. Every gathering. Every moment. Until eventually, I disappeared. At 18, I left. Not dramatically. Not emotionally. Just quietly. I got a scholarship. Architecture. When I told my mother, she didn't congratulate me. She didn't ask questions. She didn't even pretend to be proud. That's not really a career for someone like you, she said. I didn't understand what she meant then. But years later, I would. Because in the attic, I found her past. A box. Old. Dust-covered. Labeled simply, Diane College. Inside was a sketchbook. Page after page of architectural drawings. Not beginner work. Not casual sketches. Real talent. Precision. Vision. My mother had been an architecture student. She had dreams. She had skill. And she gave it up. That's when everything shifted for me. She didn't hate me. Not exactly. She resented me. Because I became what she couldn't. And instead of facing that, she labeled me. It was easier. I built my life in silence. Not because I wanted to hide, but because no one was listening. I worked nights at a diner. Interned during the day. Studied until exhaustion blurred everything. I restored buildings no one cared about. Old libraries. Churches. Courthouses. Places people had given up on. At 25, I saved my first major project. At 28, I started my own studio. At 32, I won a state award. My family didn't know, because they never asked. And then came the reunion. 42 people. Same yard. Same patterns. Same roles. And I was exactly where I had always been. At the kids' table. Until she arrived. Nora Whitfield. She didn't belong there. You could tell immediately. Different posture. Different energy. Different awareness. She sat next to me. Not across. Not near. Next to. She spread out photos. My work. My buildings. My life. She saw me. And that was all it took. Because Patricia noticed. Of course she did. She walked over. Smiling. Performing. And said it again. This is the one we don't talk about. But this time, the person hearing it wasn't conditioned to laugh. Nora went still. Not awkward. Not confused. Still. I'm sorry, she said calmly. What did you just say? And suddenly, the script broke. Minutes later, everyone was watching. And Nora said the words that rewrote my entire life. I'm here because of her. She pointed at me. And then she showed them. Everything. My work. My impact. My name. Faith Mercer, she said, is one of the most important preservation architects working in the country today. Silence. Heavy. Unavoidable. For the first time. They saw me. Not as a label. Not as a joke. As truth. My mother tried to recover. Tried to reshape reality. But it didn't work. Because truth doesn't bend like that. And for the first time in 34 years, I didn't shrink. I didn't argue. Didn't defend. Didn't explain. I just stood there. Visible. Before I left, I found my father. He had saved everything. Every article. Every achievement. Every proof. Quietly. He never said it. But he believed in me. And that was enough. I drove away that day without looking back. Because I finally understood something. I wasn't invisible. They just refused to see me. And I didn't need to keep trying. 3 months later, my face was on the cover of a national magazine. The same face they called ugly. My father framed it. Put it on the wall. My mother didn't remove it. She didn't acknowledge it either. And that silence? That was the closest thing to acceptance I was ever going to get. And for the first time, I was okay with that. Because here's what I know now. You cannot rebuild a family that refuses to change. But you can build a life so strong. It doesn't need their approval. I was never the ugly one. I was just standing in a place that refused to see me clearly. And once I stepped out of it, everything changed. If this story felt familiar, it's not just you. Some people don't need fixing. They just need to be seen in the right light. And if no one around you is willing to do that, then maybe it's time to find a place that will.